Good afternoon. Welcome. Greet you with the greetings of respect and thank you for joining us this day of possibilities, opportunities, miraculous things happening, and choices. I'm glad that you chose to join us here on this 22nd segment that comes at 12:22. So it's a pleasure to have you as a part of this. What I would like to do on this 22nd segment is begin by giving special acknowledgement to all of you who have been following and supporting. That means a lot. It means a lot to help keep me going, so I greatly appreciate that. I want to give, I can't call all of you by name, but I know many of you follow, some watch and don't necessarily comment, but you may tell me something later, or maybe you just pass it on. So I wanted to take a minute to just thank you for doing that. I want to give a special thank you to the service members that I work with. This last weekend, I was in Houston working with some returning warriors and their families, and that was a good and a special time to have with them. I want to thank them for all that they do, and those who I've met recently who are supporters and watch the Mindful Moments. Also, there are many service members that I've personally met now who are deployed. They're in places that's very hot and uncomfortable and less than favorable conditions. And they've said to me that, you know, we listen a lot of times to your Mindful Moments, and it helps us stay connected and it helps us manage through those difficult times. So this is for all those service members who put their lives on the line and sacrifice, even for people who don't believe in what they're doing. So I want to thank you for that. Please continue, and I hope that I continue to share things that might be helpful to help you manage. Those of you who are serving in the armed forces, as well as those who are staying on the home front here on domestic soil. That's a beautiful thing. I believe it's important to acknowledge. So as we continue to go forward, last week we talked about renewing and refueling and sharpening your saw. How did that work for you? Did you make some time, take some time so that you could sharpen your saw, so that you could be open to receive information when someone is suggesting to you that you refuel? Did you have some engaging conversations with somebody that helped them think about maybe they need to sharpen their saw? Did you even have an experience with somebody during this last 7 days or so that you know that they really needed to have heard that message? They needed to have done something for themselves just to renew so that they wouldn't be in the situation they're in now. It's not too late. Still pass the message forward to them. So, like we begin with relaxing and breathing. So last time during our relaxing and breathing, I asked you to close your eyes and visualize the things that were in your room, in your presence. See how much of that you can remember to relax. What I'd like you to do now is to take 10 seconds, that's all, 10 seconds, and use your power of listening and see how many different sounds you can recognize in 10 seconds. Ten seconds. Exercising the ability to listen. Oh, excuse me, I dropped something there. The ability to listen. The brain takes in about 400 billion bits of data per second. I think 2,000 of those bits of information become conscious that we know about. So there are billions of information and things happening around us that we miss sometimes because we're not present enough to be silent, to listen and recognize what's around us. You may hear the sound of birds. We block so much out that we miss maybe some things that we need to hear that just might help us settle and relax and be in a good place during that time. So hopefully you did that. Maybe you can use that as a practice sometime later when you're going through something. To our mindful moment. I would love to give credit to the author of this, but it's listed as being anonymous. You may have heard it before. Let me read it to you. I would rather see a sermon than hear one any day. I would rather have you walk with me than merely tell me the way. My eyes are better pupil and more willing than the ear. Fine counsel is confusing, but examples are always clear. The best of all preachers are the men who live their creeds. For to see good put in action is what everybody needs. I soon can learn to do it if you let me see it done. I can watch your hands in action, but your tongue too fast may run. The lectures you deliver may be very wise and true, but I'd rather get my lessons by observing what you do. It's called a sample, not a sermon. If B.B. King was to say that, he'd say, I love to live the life that I sing about in my song. Mystical said, show me what you're working with. The rest of the song is not important. Just that part right now is important. It's about showing things. My mother used to say, I can show you better than I can tell you. Usually that wasn't good for whoever was in earshot of that. Oftentimes it was me. Down south, I would hear people say, if you don't believe me, watch my smoke. You know, in Baltimore, where I'm from originally, it would say something like, just do what you're going to do, right? I say, with East Coast birth and a Southern raising and hearing the messages of people like Johnny Frank Murray who would say things like, you know, people know that my word is my word. If I tell you I'm going to do something, that's done. I was just down south, heard him say those exact same things. I say that execution beats explanation. People would rather see what you're about than just hear you talking about all the time, I'm this and I'm that. Let's look at just a few areas about that to examine a little closer. People who say that they're of a certain religion or spirituality, you shouldn't have to say that for people to know that that's what you're about. You shouldn't have to only be in a church building or temple or synagogue or wherever you gather to worship for people to know that you have a certain level of spirituality and religiousness about you, if that's what it is. They shouldn't have to just see you in a certain garment or covering to understand what your spirituality is about. What if the person was blind? What would they know about your spirituality? What do you show of your spiritual beliefs by the way that you live and the way that you treat people every day? What are you demonstrating? People would rather see a sermon than hear you telling them things. How are you living your life? In terms of your education, you shouldn't have to tell people that, oh, you know, I've got 2 PhDs or I've got a bachelor's degree, or whatever, your certificate or degree. You shouldn't have to tell people that. Your level of education should be demonstrated by the way that you function. But here's the problem. Many people have been miseducated about what education truly is. They don't really know, because some people think that education is getting a certificate, a degree, a paper, or something like that. But true education is when you know clearly who you are, the foundation that you rest on, who you are in your essence, your core, the essence part of you, who you were before you were given your name, the essence of you. That's what true education is. A person knows who they are. They know how to feed, how to clothe, how to shelter, how to protect themselves in any given situation. So your true education should be demonstrated by your ability to take care of yourself well, by your ability to feed yourself well, by your ability to manage yourself in any given situation. There are some people who have so-called education and they're telling people that, but actually they have difficulty functioning in everyday life. Have they truly been educated? What are you demonstrating by that? Your abilities. People should be able to see what you're capable of and not just hear what you can do. You know, they say you can tell a little man by his big talk. because they're always talking about, oh, you know, I can do this. And their whole life is Throwback Thursday, what they used to do, what they did at some other time. That's their whole life, not what they're doing. As a matter of fact, they talk so much that you can't get a word in edgewise. Usually they're talking because they're afraid that if they stop talking, you'll see that there's nothing left except their conversation. I can learn more by seeing how you live your life and your abilities and your spirituality and your education by watching what you do, as opposed to hearing what it is that you say, just that alone. What are you demonstrating in terms of your love, your loyalty, your friendship? It's great to hear these things. It's great to hear that someone loves you, that someone is loyal to, that someone is your friend. But isn't it good when you can feel that when that's demonstrated? Again, in 2017, so many people have been confused to believe that quantity is quality. So places like we are here now on Facebook, there are many people who are concerned about getting more friends, and they think that a friend is just being able to say, I like what you said, or I like what you did. But I came to believe that a true friend is somebody, when your back is against the wall, that's somebody you can call to talk to help manage through different things. So people have large friends, but they don't understand what that loyalty is. Can you actually demonstrate that you are loyal, that you love the person that you say that you love and loyal to? Demonstrate that by sharing your time with them, sharing your resources, sharing your connections. Yeah, I'm friends, but I'm not going to tell you where I got this deal at, or I'm not going to tell you where I found this at, or, you know, all these things that people don't want to share with you, but they say, oh yeah, you're my friend, you're my girl, or you're my brother, but I'm not going to share those kinds of things with you. What are you really demonstrating as far as who you are? I heard the expression say, you know, don't talk about it, be about it. If you couldn't say a word, what would your actions show about who you are? By the way that you treat yourself and take care of yourself, by the way that you treat and take care and respect other people, what would that say about you? What would it say about you in terms of the way you take care of your environment, the environment of your home, the environment of your car, the environment that you work in? What does that say about who you are? So many people are busy just making a front, faking it till they're making a front, saying things, but not actually being that. I went to a poetry reading one time. I'll just give you this last piece. I went to a poetry reading one time, and I saw these people who said they were poets, and they got up and they delivered poetry in a dynamic way, came off the stage, and they sound like a totally different person. I couldn't believe it. They didn't sound the same. They didn't act the same. They were good at delivering poetry, but they weren't actually poets. It's my belief that a true poet is poetic in all that they do. They dress poetically. They talk poetically. They prepare meals poetically. They entertain poetically. That's the difference between talking about something and actually being something. Who are you at your core? That being said, I encourage you to look for an opportunity to be the tip of the spear, to lead from the front, to lead by example. The things that you complain and see and other people not doing, not delivering good customer service, not being great friends, not being this or that, be that person. Lead by example. Show them what you're working with. Show them who you are. Live the life you sing about if you sing about those kinds of things. I encourage you to look for an opportunity to be that lady, to be that man, to be that person. I encourage you to look for possibilities, or consider the possibility of what will happen if you are that guy, you are that lady. Consider the possibilities of influencing the people in your circle, the very people that you would like. Because this message is to the messengers. Because many of you out there, whether you're a teacher or a mentor or a mother or a father or somebody in a leadership role, people are watching you more than they're listening to you. What are you demonstrating? Consider the possibility of influencing the people that's in your circle of influence by your positive actions, not by just what you say, by what you do. What are your actions? What is the way you dress? What is the way that you talk and the way, what does that say about you? Consider the possibilities of what happens if you became mindful of that and became more powerful in your presence of being the person of character that you would like to see in other places instead of just talking about it. Last, expect and experience the miracles that will expand in your journey. There's already miracles there. Expect them to expand as you become more mindful of your moment. You become that leader from the front. You lead by example, because we know inspiration is better caught, right, than taught. Be that person. People will be what they see. Expect the miracles to unfold in your life. Thank you for listening to this 20-second segment. We are just warming up. Pass this message on. My service members continue to serve well. The family members who are maintaining at home, maintain the front. Andre, who is the president of Vinyl Stew, thank you for including this video and my messages in your posts. In your group with about 12,000 members. He just did that. Thank you for doing that. Thank all of you, large and small, for sharing what you've shared. I love you from a heart place. Please, until the next time that we connect, travel well with respect.